Well, hello everyone, and thanks for tuning in as usual. We're glad you're here and watching 5-star car stereos, Installer Diaries. Fernando, say hi.
Hello, people.
We have a car today. We have a Ford Fusion.
Okay.
Some of you might recognize this car, not from this particular angle, but we've done this car before. We had it in, this happens to be the car where I lost the footage. We did the cool little IKEA thing, and you all saw Haley. We did the 6x9s. We dynamited the rear deck for the 6x9s. Well, he's back in today because he wants to finish off the mids and highs. So what we're gonna put in somewhere around here, I think they're in the trunk. All right, so to make Fernando happy, we're gonna put in his favorite speakers. We're gonna put in some energies in the front doors, separates. We're gonna replace the factory 3.5 with a DC 3.5. And then because the rear door, we're not real worried about, he just wants sound. And also, look where they put the tweeter. Way up here on the door, it literally sits 10 inches from his ear. So we're gonna go ahead and disconnect this tweeter. We're just gonna have a tweeter playing down low. He still has his tweeter up here. Now, he's already tried to put a set of tweeters in here, he warned me, and he's like, I kinda glued them in, so do what you can. So that'll be fun. Let's get this car apart, and we'll see what we run into. For those of you unfamiliar with Hertz, these are the energy line. Let's go ahead and open these up and take a look and see what comes in the box. All right, so we're gonna get a 6-inch mid-range for the door, fairly good size magnet. It's got a rubber boot on it. They do come with grills if you need them. 2 passive crossover networks. How you open them is there's a little push right here and then they come off. Inside you do have attenuation for the tweeters so that you can turn them up or down depending on how crazy you want them to be. And you got the tweeter right here. Now, one of the complaints that a lot of people have about tweeters is they don't do a good job marking positive and negative. There's actually no marking on here whatsoever for positive and negative. If you're worried about that, then you're definitely going to want to polarity check them to see which way is which. Under here you get a bag of screws and then you get some angle mounts. That's about it. There is a screw hole in the bottom of the tweeter, so if you want to screw this in flush, you can. Alright, so Fernando's going to go ahead and start on the driver's door so we can kind of figure out what's going on there. I want to go ahead and get the center channel out so I can figure out what we're going to need for that, and then we'll meet in the rear doors. Let's go ahead and pop this grill out, and of course to do that we're going to use one of these. Now, these aren't hard plastic like you would think. A lot of these that you buy online are hard plastic. These are nylon. They're a lot more pliable. So when you're looking to get these, try to find the nylon set. They work a lot better than the hard plastic ones. Got the grill out. As you can see, this little grill has 6 clips holding it in place. That's amazing. That's a whole lot of clip. And then the speaker itself is definitely a little 2-hole 3.5. It's got this cool little plug that attaches to it, and then over here on the speaker, it actually says positive and negative. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and unsolder these. We're gonna reattach these to our new speaker, and we're gonna get it in the dash. Got the speaker all attached up, ready to go. I'm gonna throw a zip tie around here just to hold this in place. We'll get it back into the car. Alright, so we're getting ready to put the tweeters in the doors, but what we need to do first is, because he doesn't have the factory tweeter in here, we need to find out if there was a crossover, like a base blocker on the factory tweeter that's no longer there. We don't know if the signal's full range or if it's actively crossed over. So we're going to hook up an RTA, we're going to play some pink noise, we're going to look at the signal that's coming out of the door and see what we need to do. Alright, so looking at that, we know that it is a full range signal coming into the door, so the factory tweeter had to have some kind of cap on it. No problem. We just wanted to make sure. He really didn't want these tweeters to fall out. This is a lot of goo on here. What I'm thinking we're gonna do is go ahead and just unscrew this panel here, or try to. Maybe get this out and work on it outside of the door panel. All right, so we got this out by removing a bunch of these 11mm guys and prying this off the door. Now we're gonna just try to figure out how to get this out of here. Never never mind, it was pretty easy. Glue he uses doesn't actually stick to the plastic. Stuck to the tweeter though. Hey, what do you know? Our Hertz tweeter actually snaps right into place and uses the factory clips. All right, so all we'll do is we'll dress this up and get it ready for Fernando to put into the door. So we need to check the polarity on the tweeter. We have our PT9A, which is going to create the tone for us. Now you can also do this with just a 9-volt battery just by simply tapping this, or a AA, tap this, and you'll be able to read the movement. I like to use this microphone for this test as opposed to this microphone. These aren't always 100% reliable, I've found. It might just be my version of it. So I simply just use it for its ticking creation sound that you've seen us do. Alright, so we're getting a green flash there. So that's telling us that on this particular tweeter, the red stripe is positive. So let's grab the other one and test it. And you might be asking, why test both speakers? You know which wire is positive. Well, what if the guy was having a bad day when he decided to tap these on there? What does it take, an extra 5 minutes just to be sure? Okay, and we're sure. So, red stripe on both is positive. There's been cases where they've been wrong, and this is a lot easier to do this now than to have to pull the door panel off when you're done. This is the factory speaker that's in this Fusion. Here, use a little neo magnet, pretty cool there. Foam surround, foam, yeah, whatever, it's a factory speaker. It sticks out of the door about an inch, and of course it has this cool mount. As you can see from the bag behind me, they make adapters. This is actually the Ford F-150 rear speaker mount. It's the 825605. This is the exact same speaker, oddly enough, that is in this car. So we have a trim ring, so now all we have to do is foam this thing up, foam both sides, get the speaker in, put a little bit of foam on the front, because it really doesn't need all that much, so we can just put some simple weather stripping on the front, and we're good to go. Alright, so we have this speaker all put in and ready to go. We have the foam on it, it's all screwed in. Hanging right here is the crossover. Now, you guys ask a lot of the times, what do I do with the crossover? Where should it go? It should go here, meaning on the inside of the door, not in here where it can get wet. You want to make sure it stays nice and dry. So, hold that for a second. On the door panel, right here, there is a shelf, which is perfect. So what we're gonna do is slide the crossover in and stick it in place. It's gonna be on Velcro, so if you ever need to service it or pull the door off, it'll easily come off. So the rear speaker is basically the exact same speaker as the front speaker, so we're going to use another set of the 5605s. Let's take a look at the speakers we're going to put back there. We're going to use the Dici 6.5 coaxials. Basically what you just have is a nice size 6.5 inch, decent size magnet with an orange cover over it denoting the Dici. Now these spacers, you notice these right here, these are for 6s or 5.25s. So when you go to put this in, it's not gonna fit. So what you want to do is just take yourself a pair of pliers, break these off. Just like that. And now the speaker will go in. So of course we have to add foam front and back, and then we'll put a little piece of foam on the front. Now these don't come with a hole for the wire to run through. On this particular speaker, it's mounted between the two bigger eyelets. So we're gonna drill the hole in the same spot. All right, let's take it over to the car and get it in. So remember, when you do the polarity check, you want to make sure that they're all moving the same direction. So in this case, they all moved red. It's just a marking on the thing. It doesn't matter if it's a green light or a red light, you just want to make sure they're all moving the same. So we got red lights all the way around. That's perfect. We got green lights all the way around. That would have been perfect. All right, this car's done. On to the next one. It's gonna be fun. Maybe, let's find out. All right, so next on the list is a Camaro. So what are you doing down there, Fernando?
Taping it.
And you're taping it because?
Because it's safe. I don't want to scratch the license plate.
So so Fernando's actually putting in a backup camera. He's getting ready to show you how he does that on his camera. I'm gonna go ahead and start getting the dash apart, but before I do that, we're using PAC's Camaro kit, which if you haven't seen us do yet, is this guy right here. As well as we're using a 9904. But there was a software update on this kit because the kit had an issue with the air conditioner. So if any of you guys had Camaros out there and the air conditioner stopped working, there's a software update that fixes it. Now we just did one of these cars, so you guys pretty much saw how to take the dash apart. What we're doing in this one is we're also adding a factory USB adapter into it that he bought. So that's cool, we'll show you how to do that. As well as we'll show you how to build this kit in a nice time lapse. We do have a video where we walk you through it pace by pace, inch by inch, but for this, we'll just make it a little faster so that you guys can get on to the next fun thing we're doing. All right, so the backup camera is in and mounted. This one is made to mount behind a beauty tag. As you can see here, it's mounted behind it. So if you have a tag you absolutely have to keep, this Echo Master might be the one you're interested in. So on the inside, we went ahead and drilled and grommeted a hole. We have our wire taped up. It goes up here, attaches into the factory wiring harness, and then loops into the cabin of the car. Now once this factory carpet goes back in, you won't be able to see any of this. So on page 7 in the instruction manual, it talks about cutting the dash. So here's the dash here. What you need to do is remove this piece here so that the radio will sit in. You also need to trim these spikes down so that the kit will go on. So down here is where the factory aux was, which is this guy right here. Gone ahead and popped it out. Now we can go ahead and pop in the new USB aux jack. There is a line here on the side to line up, so when you're putting either one of them in, you want to make sure you do that. Now on the back, we can go ahead and plug in and route in our new wires. Now, things to note. See that guy right there? Can you see it? Probably not, barely. That's the emergency brake. So don't go down the passenger side. You want to make sure you go down the driver's side with the wire. And then you can route that wire all along and up into the dash. All right, let's go ahead and put this radio in. Now, anytime you're doing one of these, it is a fun ordeal in that you're trying to move as much stuff to the left or right or top or bottom as possible to keep it clear of the radio. So it may take you a couple tries to figure out the combination of how this stuff is supposed to get in here. Take your time. All right, let's test the reverse camera. All right, so everything's working the way it's supposed to. We're gonna go ahead and put the dash back together now. All right, so the Camaro's done. We got the dash back together. A couple things to think about. When it comes to the VR feature, this has CarPlay and Android Auto. As you know, it's a 9904. On the Camaro, with the steering wheel controls, the factory voice button is OnStar and Answer. So when you go to reprogram it, it's set up for a long press is OnStar. Why that's important is because you can still program a short press. With a Kenwood, that's okay. You can make short press VR. On a Pioneer, it has to do long press voice activation. So you won't be able to use that button on the steering wheel for that. So what you probably want to do is switch the source button and the VR button. That's it. Just wanted to cover that confusing topic for you guys. All right, we're gonna get this car out of here. All right, guys, thanks for watching as always. We'll see you.
See you later next time.
All right.